Okay, continuing on where we were. I know it got cut off when we were at the Java API, but that's okay. So we are going to take a look at something called a random number. And we're going to let R represent the random number. So I'm going to go back to my JGrass. And I'm going to demonstrate what you get when you use the math.random function that comes from the math class in Java. So what it does is it will generate a random number, which is just a random decimal number that can be 0. So it's between 0 and 1. But notice it doesn't include 1. So that means it can go from 0 all the way to 0.9999999, repeating. But it can never be 1. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that. And we're just going to make a bunch of SOPs. So we're going to do system out print ln. And I'm going to put a string. I'm going to copy this inequality here. And I'm going to paste it in. And the string. And I'm going to concatenate it with the command that we need. So we're going to type math.random. So go ahead and compile that. And run it. Now, what I want you to, oops, we probably should have put an equal sign in there. Let's recompile and go again. All right, now what I want you to notice is this. So we're going to make sure we can see everything. Every time we run this program, we're going to get a different answer. That's what a random number is. Notice that the range of these numbers. And if we ran it long enough, we could get any number between 0 and 1, including 1, but not including 0, but not including 1. Now, the next thing that we're asked to do is to find a random number between 0 and 6. So this is where things get a little interesting using the math.random command. So I know based on what I saw that when I use math.random, it gives me any decimal number between 0 and 1, 0 inclusive. But what I want is a random number between 0 and 6. So what I can do is I can take this command, math.random, and multiply it by 6. So what happens here? Essentially, when I take 6 times math.random, I'm taking 6 times this inequality. So 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 1 is 6. So that gives me the inequality 0 to 6. This will generate decimal numbers from 0 all the way up to 5.99999. So let's do that. So we're going to steal the SOP from above, paste it underneath. We're going to change this string 0 to 6, and then inside of our calculation, let's put a set of parentheses 6 times math.random, and let's put another parenthesis on the other side. Remember, this is forcing a math operation. Let's go ahead and compile and run again. And notice again, run it a few times, and we can see all the different numbers that we can get between 0 and 6. And every time we run it, we get a different random number. Now, the next thing that we want to try is generating random integers. So I only want the integers from 0 to 5. 0 to 5, so that means I want to generate 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's really useful if you're trying to do something like a lottery simulation or something like that. So how can we use what we've already done? So we know how to generate random decimals from 0 up to but not including 6. And since I know I want to generate integers, all I have to do is say, take that, what we did in the last calculation, and now cast it to be an int. So that means we're basically going to say, give me the integer part of all these numbers. And since I know we never go up to 6, I'm guaranteed that the top number will be 5. And then we know we include 0. And so everywhere in between, we'll include all the other integers 0 through 5. So all we have to do in our code then is take our last SOP and modify that last calculation by doing one simple thing, by casting. So I'm going to add another set of parentheses to the front and to the back of our calculation. And right after that first parentheses, I'm going to cast to an int. So essentially, I'm just taking the integer of what we did in the last step. So once again, go ahead and compile. And I want you to run it enough times so you end up seeing all those integers. And I think I saw them all. So please do that. A few more things. Let's say I wanted the integers between 4 and 9. Now, one thing to notice is, how do these numbers differ? Let's look at this range, 0 to 5. So the range is 5, correct? Let's make a note. Down here, what's the range of our numbers? It is also 5. When I study how many integers I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Down here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the only difference between these numbers and these numbers is that the starting number and the ending number are 4 more. So 4 is 4 more than 0. 9 is 4 more than 5. So all I have to do is take what I did in this last example to generate the numbers 0 to 5 and add 4 to those numbers. So let's go ahead and copy this and paste it. Let's go inside. We can go right in front of that cast and we can say 4 plus. Let's go ahead and compile and run it. And please run it enough times so that you can see all those numbers. And I think I saw them all. Let's go through that again, but let's use a completely different example because I'm sure some of you are a bit confused. Let's look at 2 to 5. Okay, I gotta find my, here we go. So 2 to 5. So what is a process that we can use for this? So I want to generate random numbers between 2 and 5. They're not integers, just random numbers in this case. All right, so how do we do this? Notice when we don't start at 0 on the left side, the first thing we do is find the range. So for our example, the range is 3. So we know to generate a range of 3, we want to take math.random times 3. So let's go over here and look to the left. I know math.random gives me this. If I multiply by 3, it gives me a set of numbers between 0 and 3, 0 inclusive. Then the next thing I do is look at the first number. How far is it from 0? Well, it's 2 units from 0. Look at the last number. How far is it from 3? It's 2 units. So we're going to add that answer to what we did in step 1. So if I add 2 to the calculation, 3 times math random, I will get the inequality 2 to 5. So let's do that. So we're going to go back and let's take this one up here. Paste it. That one looks a little easier to modify. Ooh, I see we forgot to modify these. Let's do that. Let's copy and paste. And over here, let's copy and let's paste. And here, let's copy.